The journey is just ever changing. The biggest takeaway for me is just perseverance. You just have to keep going.
Hello, everyone, and we are back for another exciting episode of Startups in Stilettos. It is so wonderful to be with you here today, and we are flying solo today. Jess Abo is not joining us today, so it is just Katie Platt and myself, Carlin Bushman, and this is going to be a very, very exciting episode today. Katie, welcome. We're so happy to have you here with us today.
Thank you. I am just excited to be here.
Great. Well, we'll drop right in. Katie Platt is the founder of Bliss On, a bridal-inspired swimwear. Katie was introduced to the wedding industry through her personalized invitations and stationery boutique in 2004, where she fell in love with all things bridal. Armed with a background in apparel merchandising and design from Auburn University and her passion for making brides feel joyous, Katie began sketching out her beautiful designs. Today, Bliss On offers classically elegant swimwear to spark the joy you felt in your favorite dress on the beach, by the pool, and beyond. Katie, it is really, really exciting, and we can't wait to hear more about your journey and how you have developed Bliss On. So with that, tell us a little bit about your business.
So Bliss On is a bridal swimwear brand. I design swimsuits, taking inspiration from a bride's wedding gown. So it's the body style and the intricate details of the gown, ruffles, little flowers, and translated that into swimwear.
And as you started this journey, we mentioned earlier that you started with personalized invitations and stationeries in 2004. How did you make the leap? And I know your background is in, of course, apparel merchandising and design, but how did you decide that the bridal space was where you were going to start? What led you down to that path?
As you mentioned, I did have a stationery and invitation gift store. And so we did a lot of bridal invitations. And so I found myself working a lot with brides, and I just loved it. It's so much fun when brides are kind of in that wedding planning mode, and I just loved everything about it. And after college, I always loved weddings. All my friends were getting married. It's just been something that I've always loved. While in school, I really considered designing wedding gowns. So it's something that's just always been a love of mine.
And that's fascinating. I think as myself, I have two daughters, one that recently was married and one that is getting married this summer. Before I met you, Katie, and learned about Bliss On and where you really bring your inspiration to life, I had never thought, nor have I heard of something so creative as bridal swimwear. And it's fascinating how you saw that the niche in the market for something as creative as bridal swimwear, making the leap from stationery and your early years of being exposed to the bridal space and just absolutely drawing your inspiration from that to actually creating bridal swimwear. How did you determine that this was a space that was open for opportunity?
Well, it really came from the idea first. I came up with the idea. We have a lake house with our family, and so we spent a lot of summers on the water. And so I was there flipping through magazines and just came across a picture of a gown. And it just hit me, I thought, wow, that would make a really beautiful bathing suit. And so I just kind of started from there, and I started researching and looking to see what was out there for bridal swimwear. And there's really not much out there. There's a lot of suits that have, bride or wifey written across it that are a little more kitschy. And my idea was, more on the elegant side. And so I just saw that there wasn't much out there. There wasn't a place to go directly for bridal swimwear. So I wanted to be that place.
And I really want to jump back to what you said. You found yourself at the lake thinking about this. And I think for all of our listeners out there, as entrepreneurs, starting our business, growing our business, coming up with new products or ideas, what I'm hearing from you, Katie, is how invaluable it is to give yourself the space to step away from behind the desktop or behind your desk or out of the office and really draw from the inspiration of the why you created the business, what the creativity is that you can drop in to continue to expand your business. And you're a testament to that. You were literally looking through magazines and came across a wedding dress, and what you thought about was what a beautiful opportunity to make a bathing suit. I think that speaks volumes to giving ourselves the grace to step away to bring to light some of our best creative ideas. And that is incredibly inspirational. With that, tell us a little bit about what you didn't know before going into business. I'm sure there's a lot of lessons you've learned along the way. What didn't you know really before stepping into beyond the creating the beautiful bathing suit?
So I didn't know how difficult the product development side would be. So I didn't realize how difficult it would be to find factories and fabric and like all the things that go into actually making the product. So I spent a lot of time on Google, and I wanted to find a factory in the US first. And I kind of would find one, work with them just a little bit, it not work out. Then you'd have to go look for another one. Like there was a lot of just kind of working through the system and finding a good fit. I didn't know how difficult it would be to kind of bring it all together.
So for any of our listeners who are in the product-based business and actually considering manufacturing a piece of apparel, do you have any good go-to Google resources that were able to help you identify these factories, or any advice you could give to our listeners who are seeking out to build an apparel brand similar to what you're doing?
Sure. So I started out, there's a website called Make Mine, and it is a resource for American manufacturing businesses. So I started off there looking for businesses that made accessories or swimwear or anything that was kind of in that spandex realm. And so I found my first factory through there. I actually found two or three that I worked with for prototypes. And then another great resource is Alibaba. You can find offshore manufacturers on there. And I did make some good connections with that.
Fabulous, Katie. And thank you for both of those resources. That is so helpful. So I would look at some of these as considered to be one of some of your big wins inside of your business is just actually finding those resources. What would you say would be another big win that you've had to date in your business?
I think actually the biggest win is I found a fabulous consulting group that helped me with the product development. So I switched gears from trying to do everything myself into finding other resources and finding that consulting group. You know, they know the industry and they've made products over and over. And so they knew exactly what to do. And so that's been very integral in moving the business forward.
Well, congratulations on that, Katie. And that is so exciting as we watch the growth of Bliss On. And for those of you listening, I think we all feel this way on occasion, probably more than just on occasion, when we step into these roles as CEO and founder of our company, no matter what the size is, when you're just starting out or as you're growing or as you're looking to raise capital, whatever the case is, you feel like you wear so many hats. And what I just heard from Katie is that one of the best things to do is look outside and see who you can find support from. And I love the fact that you gave a shout out to your consulting group that actually helped walk you through the product development, and they were able to take that off your plate so you could stay in that creative space, which is exactly why you started your business. And for all of us, that really makes a lot of sense. We all have to stay within our superpowers and let some of those around us really help us facilitate the growth of our company. And I think that's just a wonderful way to reflect on your real example of that. So thank you for sharing that with us. As you've mentioned, there's a few favorite things that you use within your business. What are some of your favorite business tools that you've used inside of your business to maybe make it more efficient or really help keep you organized? Anything you'd like to share with our listeners today?
The biggest resource for me is Canva. It's a platform where you can design really any kind of media, marketing materials. I can use that for designing Instagram, social media, any kind of print. It's an easy tool to use. So that's probably the biggest tool that moves my business forward.
That's fabulous. And I think when we look at some of those tools in Canva, I know many of our listeners are familiar with Canva, and there's so many features and benefits that Canva continues to add for all of us to make it just a little easier to work through in our business and or for our team to use to help us really hone in on our branding and our marketing and all kinds of opportunities. Something that I'd love to step in and get your opinion on, Katie, and I see this as something that I feel is trending, being in the space with, of course, our daughters getting married and things like that. I really feel like bachelorette parties are becoming possibly like classier and maybe less risque. They're focusing more on creating those memories and more positive experiences than they were in previous years, or what was deemed the, I guess you could say, generalized bachelorette party. More destination experiences, which could include wineries, spas, resorts, not only right here domestically, but also internationally. What are your thoughts on that? And have you seen that as a trend? And has that impacted your business when creating the product of your style?
Yes, I have seen this. The brides are trying to put together weekends where their friends can come together, and it's more of like an experience, really spending time together, making memories, and definitely a little more high class. There's been a lot of, not only here in the US destinations, there's beautiful beaches in Florida, and there's also non beach destinations as well. If you want to go to the mountains, there's so much that's to offer to actually go away on a trip. But also a lot of them are going abroad, going to islands and Spain. And I've just really seen an uptick in just these big planning moments that really is 2 or 3 days, whereas bachelorette parties used to be, one night. So yeah, I've really seen it change a lot.
Well, and the space you're in, you're exposed to all these brides and the events that surround the fabulous day, of course. And speaking of planning, one last question for you, just as a trending topic, is how do you know, or do you have an opinion on when it's time to hire a planner? So have you seen planners, whether it's bridal for the actual wedding planner or for the entire engagement period up until the wedding? Have you seen anything, or do you have any information for our listeners on hiring a wedding planner, even for those bachelorette parties? Is there anything out there that you would say do it sooner than later, or it's not necessary? Any thoughts on that as you're building these relationships with different parts of the bridal journey?
A lot of brides are looking to planners, actually, who just plan bachelorette parties. There's so many things that go into it, not just travel, but entertainment while you're there. And a lot of brides are doing different themes for each day, whereas you'll dress all the same color, or there's just so much that goes into it now. So I would say the sooner, the better. And those resources are out there, and it takes a lot off your plate.
That's great information. And I would not have thought, of course, in previous years about trying to consider a planner for a bachelorette party. And as you've just explained, I think it could be very, very beneficial, specifically as there are so many details that go into just that special occasion. And as you indicated earlier, making those memories that will last a lifetime and always good things to reflect upon through that wonderful celebratory journey. I really found it to be interesting and something that's come up quite a bit this past week for me. And I think Katie is a testament to this is I had a recent conversation regarding entrepreneurship. And Katie, you've really walked us through just exactly what we were talking about. And that is so many times what is taught out in the world of entrepreneurship is that entrepreneurship is a linear journey. And even our academic system, from MIT to others that are instituting a degree or a course of study in entrepreneurship, really focus on it as linear. And recently, my conversation on Monday actually was how entrepreneurship is truly a circular journey. And I think, Katie, you're a testament to starting out, even in 2004, as you were building that stationery and invitation business and learning the business side of building a business and taking those teachable moments and lessons from building that business and now taking that and dropping it into your business today and continuing to grow your business, doing it on your own on the research and manufacturing, and now dropping that into, of course, your consultants to help you with the product side of your business. I think it's so interesting where it is truly not a linear journey. I feel like it is circular and it winds its way. You know, we have highs and lows and it winds its way. And as you grow, you continue to experience the growth phases. But it is, again, circular. You're thinking of a new product. You're thinking of new things that you've talked about, new product development, and you go back to the drawing board. You go back to the lake to get your creativity back in. You know, you use these opportunities and then you go back to product development and then you go back to the marketing. You go back to Canva, the resource you use. So that becomes more of a circular journey to me than just a linear journey. And I am really interested to hear your final thoughts on how have you seen the path of your entrepreneurship to date? And with that, my second question is going to be, are there any new and exciting products coming out for Bliss On? So just share with us a little bit of your final thoughts on summarizing your entrepreneurship journey and, of course, leaving us with something for us to look forward to in the Bliss On family.
Sure. So I have found with entrepreneurship, everything falls on you. You learn so much about time management and how to juggle just family life. And, you work so hard and might hit a dead end somewhere and you need to pivot. And there's just so many things to learn. And I think it's easy to get really stressed out. And it's important to remember to kind of give yourself grace, that you're figuring it out as you go. The journey is just ever changing. I think the biggest takeaway for me is just perseverance. You just have to keep going. So I first had this idea in 2019. And so as I was getting it going, COVID hit. And so even though I had ordered my inventory, it had not come in because nothing was shipping from overseas. So lots of roadblocks along the way, but you just pick up and you keep going. And I think that's important to remember. For new products, I'm very excited. Our suit designs are very classic and elegant, but just like a touch of fun. And so I have some wonderful accessories coming out. There are many ways to change up the look of the swimsuits with the versatility of some accessories. I've got some beautiful blooms. We call them Bliss blooms. And so they're flowers that are made out of swimsuit material that attach to the swimsuits. You can attach them in several different ways to kind of change it up. I think they're gorgeous, and it really lends a bridal feel. We also have belts coming out, and just lots of great accessories. Some new designs. We're using different straps that you can interchange to give suits a different look. I think versatility is very important. And when you are packing and you only want to take a couple of suits, and if you have some versatility, you can switch it out and get several different looks. So I'm very excited about that. Lots of new designs.
Well, congratulations, Katie. And we cannot wait to see what Bliss On is going to share with all of us, not only today, but in the near future with your new product launches. It's been incredibly wonderful talking to you today. I've absolutely enjoyed every minute of it. Thank you for being so straightforward and honest with all of us in the journey, because we can all relate to that. Where can we find you, Katie? What are the best places for us to find you, to shop Bliss On, and to also see what is coming out for you and your brand?
Sure. So the website is www.bliss-on.com. And then for Instagram and Facebook, we are at Bliss On Bridal Swim.
Great. Thank you so much, Katie. And for all of our listeners, it's been wonderful to have you here today. For additional tips, resources, consulting groups as that applies to products, as Katie might have mentioned, head over to entreprenista.com/join to find all those valuable resources. I'm Carlin Bushman, and I'm here to help you put your best heel forward.